And we are back with Business RadioX Pro Tips. Lee Kantor, Stone Payton here with you this morning. Lee, let's chat a minute about strategies, tactics, how to make better decisions.
I was recently reading this book by Annie Dukes, who's a poker player, and her book is called Thinking in Bets. And she had some good points that I'd like to share. And I think it's important when you're making decisions to maybe keep in mind learn about how a poker player makes decisions, because they're making decisions all the time. And the way that they think may not be the way that you think, and maybe you can learn something from this. One of the things she says are to think about what are some reasons others can have a different belief. So like when other people in her case, they're looking at the cards, they're believing something that maybe you don't believe, and that they're seeing something that you're not seeing. So how are they supporting their beliefs? How are these people coming to the conclusions that they're coming up with, and why might they be right? So if they're seeing something you're not seeing, instead of just saying, oh, they're wrong, just try to look at it through their eyes and understand why they might be believing what they're believing. So that the more you can kind of have empathy with them and their thinking, it might open your eyes to some things that it might be a blind spot that you're not seeing. So another thing what are some sources of information that they may have that you don't have, or maybe you dismiss some information that you thought was not important, but they think is very important. So looking at the sources of information also kind of informs the decisions that you're making. And maybe you have to look elsewhere for different information, or be open to maybe other kinds of thinking when it comes to this. So those two things were kind of important takeaways that I got from her book, Thinking in Bets. But it just kind of emphasizes the importance of empathy, to really look at things through other people's eyes and really understand where they're coming from, and not to be so quick to dismiss what they're thinking, because you may not understand kind of all the aspects to why they got to where they got. And I always like to ask myself, if somebody does something that I disagree with, if there's a smart person and a reasonable person in other areas, why am I so sure that they're not being smart and reasonable in this area I disagree with them? And I don't think people spend enough time really kind of giving other people the benefit of the doubt when they disagree.